So you just got promoted to a new manager. Well, first off, congratulations. This is going to be an absolutely amazing opportunity for you. But where do you start? Becoming a new manager can be a daunting experience, and you don't get a second opportunity to make that first impression. So in this video, I am going to provide you with a solid 90-day blueprint so that you can crush it as a new manager. Hello, this is Jason Kistler. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things leadership. And today we are going to dive into a 90-day blueprint broken down by week so that you can be a successful new manager. So you're there, your new desk, your new office on your very first day, and you're wondering, where do I even start? So here we go. In week one, it's all about getting to know your team, the responsibilities of your position, the processes that you need to use in order to execute your job effectively, and the people that you'll be working with, your colleagues, other managers, your boss's colleagues. It's critical to understand the landscape before you start making changes, discussing process improvements with people or anything like that. You've really got to understand the layout before you start making any suggestions or any kind of change. So first thing, meet with each one of your direct reports. You want to get to know who the people are that are working for you. You want to get an idea what they want to see from you and what they want to see from their job. Any kind of career aspirations, anything like that. So take the time to really get to know all the people on your team. You then want to take an opportunity to get a look at scheduled meetings, processes in your department, how you get things done, and start to take in any kind of training for the position or the market in general that you'll be dealing with. So you may have products that you're supporting, you may have processes or software that you need to deal with. So these are all things that within the first week you want to spend a lot of time just researching, taking in everything, and making sure that you understand what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Now, moving into weeks 2 through 4, you should have a solid understanding of your goals, your team's goals, and the layout and the processes of your department. So now we're going to move into how your department fits into the company. So you want to determine the company's mission statement. So whatever the company's goals and mission and vision are, and you want to then create goals in your department that align with the company mission and strategy. Now this may sound very high level, and a lot of people may not take the time to do this, but it's surprising how important it really is when you start to determine, well, what projects do we need to take on? What are we going to be doing for the next 9 to 12 months? Looking at the company's mission statement and vision and using that as a guideline to say, does what I'm doing support the company's mission? I think it's a good way to make decisions about taking on new responsibilities, taking on different people, different resources. These are all things that you can run up against this constant checkpoint to say, does this make sense based on the company mission? So you have that set aside and you create the goals and the strategies that align with the business. Then you want to start going in and setting your cadence for the team. That includes meetings so that you can get statuses. You want to set this up early on and make sure that everyone knows what's expected. So is it a daily stand-up type meeting? Is it a weekly meeting? However you want to determine this, provide information to your team as to how you like to be communicated with, that sort of thing. Now also in this 2 to 4 weeks that you're in the job, this is where you can start to assess skill gaps within your team. So you know the company's mission, you know how your department fits into that mission. So now you can look at the skill sets that are in your own team and say, do I have all of the skills necessary to fulfill the company mission? And if you don't, then this is the time frame when you need to start thinking about filling in those gaps. Does that mean training your current people to do additional tasks, or does that mean bringing in a new resource in order to handle the skill gap? Now, finally, in this first 2 to 4 weeks in your new position, you need to start getting a grip on what projects or large tasks are currently in play, because you don't always get the opportunity to start fresh. Sometimes when you get into a new position, you're going to be thrown right in the middle of an existing project or some sort of large deliverable. So you need to take this time to assess what's going on in terms of project work for your department, for yourself, any kind of outstanding paperwork or anything like that you may step right in the middle of. This is the time when you need to get a good grip on that, so that moving into the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to start moving those projects forward. And now we're moving into weeks 5 through 8. So at this point, you've got a really strong understanding of the expectations of your position. You've got a really strong understanding of the team and the resources that you have to work with, and you understand your department's expectations and how your department fits into the strategies and the vision of the company. So now let's start making things happen. In weeks 5 through 8, you're really going to want to start establishing the expectations of performance for your team. So this is where you're going to start setting up one-on-ones. You're going to start creating processes for tracking progress. You're going to very clearly communicate the expectations to your team in terms of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable in terms of the performance. And this is also where you're going to start grabbing a hold of all these projects that may be running loose and really rein them in and start getting them under control. This is the time frame, this 5 through 8 weeks, where you're really going to start establishing yourself as the manager. This is where you're going to start creating the culture. Hopefully you would have had an opportunity to build rapport and respect from your team, and so creating a culture that fits in with the values of the company is really important at this point. You've established your credibility, and now you need to let the team know, here's what's expected, this is this is how I want to operate this team, and everybody join me. So let's start implementing, let's start getting things done. And finally, in weeks 9 through 12, at this point, you should really have a pretty well-oiled machine. You've created all the expectations to the people that you work with, to the people that work for you. You've aligned your mission and goals with that of the company. You've established any gaps in your skill sets and began to move plans forward to fill those gaps. You've definitely provided a culture that your team can build on. Hopefully you've built the rapport and the respect from your team. And so now we want to continue that progress. You want to continue to provide feedback to the team. You want to encourage them to provide you feedback. You want an open environment to where the team can say, I want to maybe change this. Let's see if this will work a little better. Provide that culture of an open door, to always allow feedback and to seriously consider the feedback, not just to take it and then move on with your own ideas. You want to continue to expand the tracking of the team's progress. Find out what works, what doesn't work. Everything's different depending on the team that you're working with. Some teams do better with certain processes than others. So you want to find out in this time period what's going to work best for the team and the resources that you have available to you. You also want to start establishing performance guidelines and goals for the next 3 to 6 months. So you want to sit down with each one of your team members and start to go over some goals, what you expect from them in the next 3 to 6 months, what they would like to see in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe training, performance evaluations, that sort of thing. So this is all, as you're wrapping up your first 90 days, this is all essentially making the team process very smooth. Also, now that you've essentially reached your first 90 days, you want to reach out to your own boss and find out what their expectations are of you in the next 3 to 6 months. Create a set of goals working with your own boss to determine your path forward. It's just as important for you and your career building as it is for your team. So congratulations, you've made it through your first 90 days. Continue to crush it.